Hi everyone, in this video I'm gonna share my opinion, my thoughts, my feedback on a customer's situation. So one of the customers I have, Logan, he wrote in our private community that is available, by the way, for free lifetime access for all people that purchase my courses or my coaching offers. So like if you want to join this community, do that. But anyway, he made a post inside of this community. He's asking a few very good questions. He's given a really good details about his situation, and he wants our help. So I'm gonna try my best here to actually go through the whole thing that he wrote, to give my feedback, advice, and stuff like that. So let's just get right into it, okay? So Logan writes, "Hey guys, so I, 28-year-old male, met a girl, 23-year-old female in June, and we have been dating since September. We had a rough patch in October when I went ghost for a few weeks after she cancelled the date after a second one." Okay, so first red flag, she didn't give a rain check of some sort. She just cancelled the date. I assume she didn't give another time, another option to you about scheduling another date, but okay. I thought she was just trying to back off, but she said she was very anxious because she liked me a lot and she was scared to be hurt again. We began talking again around Thanksgiving and it has been magic. We would talk constantly as we're a bit long distance, but every conversation we had was very flirty, and we would talk about how we liked each other and the things we liked about each other when we met. She was always extremely kind and loving, and I would reciprocate. We spent a day together the week of Christmas and 3 days together the week of New Year's. I mean, so from the get-go, I know a lot of people will give me shit in the comments for this, but this is a long-distance relationship. For anyone watching, guys, gals, whatever, don't do long-distance relationships, especially if you're trying to rekindle things with an ex, which most people watching my channel are. So I just really wouldn't recommend it. It usually doesn't work out. I mean, just getting an ex back is something that rarely happens in general, and it especially is a very rare occurrence when it comes to long-distance relationships, because you need to be there physically, consistently with a person to be able to regenerate attraction. It usually doesn't work out. It's a lost cause most of the time. So just please, if you're in a long-distance situation right now, with an ex, of course, move on. And if you're dating someone who is long-distance, and by the way I define long-distance is that it makes it really difficult for you to meet because of either financial means or the time you need to invest in the travel itself. If that's too much for you, if it becomes a headache, if it becomes a big stressor on your life, then that would be a long distance relationship not worth coming back to, or not worth even igniting. If we're talking about, as in this case, it sounds like a new person completely, and not this guy's ex, right? So that's pretty much it on that tangent. Anyway, let's continue with what this person wrote. "The week of New Year's, we got carried away and had a brief moment of sex without a condom. She does not use birth control, as she says she's very sensitive to the hormones and does not like it, what it does to her mental health." Oh shit, man. Okay, so we stopped about a minute in. Hold that. Don't do that. It's very obvious me saying this to you, but try to avoid these kind of things. I know you want to get all emotional and forget about these kind of stuff, but the consequences are just so high, it's not worth it, man. We stopped after about a minute because we realized we got carried away. Stopped then and there. She was afraid of potential pregnancy. I did not finish, thank God for that. But we got a plan B just in case. Good. Okay, that's a good choice. Last week I spent the night over and she was a little bit distant as her plan B made her feel ill and did a number on her body, but we cuddled, had dinner together, and still had an overall close night. Lots of touching, laughing, talking, etc. And she asked me to come back after I went to the hospital for school. The night, the same thing happened. Still wasn't feeling up for sex, but again, overly cuddly. We laughed a lot and had another enjoyable night. I mean, so far so good. She was probably spooked about a pregnancy, and that's why she was maybe a bit more distant, at least at the beginning. That morning, however, I screwed up. I woke up the last morning after a pretty severe panic attack and laid in bed as she slept. I was rubbing her back and we were still cuddling, but the panic became severe and I asked if she wanted me to come back that night. She said she needed a night to herself, and I left in kind of a rush trying to play it cool and control my stress, but I couldn't and she could tell something was wrong. She knew I had a very bad first day. I texted her apologizing, saying I had a lot on my mind and we didn't talk much that day. The apology was kind of unnecessary. I mean, if you just played it cool and didn't mind it yourself, she probably wouldn't mind it anyway, and it seems like you've been doing a big deal out of this unnecessarily, and it kind of influenced her to also start to worry and think about how to interact with you on from a more strategic level. So maybe not the best choice here of behavior, but okay. Over the last week, the conversations have dropped off and she started to slowly take longer to respond, and it was a bit short. She said that she was still ill, still in a lot of pain, very fatigued, and was feeling overwhelmed with all of her school stuff, and I call bullshit on that. I think that's just her excuse for not wanting to talk to you. I think she was just losing attraction, or you made a fuss about that whole pregnancy thing and about your stress, and she just had enough of you. Maybe she felt suffocated a bit, because it seems like you aren't in a committed relationship yet, because you never label her as an girlfriend boyfriend, so I assume this is like a casual date situation, and I assume that's why she got cold so quickly, because she was not yet in love with you. But again, I may be wrong. You can feel free to correct me inside our community. I did my best to talk to her and support her, but I can tell she's a little shut down. She was texting me weirdly this week, saying she was spending time with her dog and sending pics of the walk, but the conversation would just fall off. So that tells me you were extending it unnecessarily, you were prolonging the conversation. You were probably also chasing after her, as in you were initiating the conversation, which also is something that when you're already dating someone, you don't necessarily have to do. You can just let her initiate that, and you can then just cut off the conversation when it starts to go downhill, instead of prolonging it unnecessarily like I feel you did here. So he says, I don't think I'm responding my best, but not rudely. Okay, so maybe you're a bit cold. Fair enough. She did the same thing Wednesday, saying she was having crazy food cravings and then again would just not respond. She texted me late Wednesday night, wishing me luck with my ER clinical. Thursday I responded saying thank you and asking how she was. She said she was very tired and very depressed, and after talking with her psychiatrist. So she has a psychiatrist. That's, by the way, another red flag. Not that there's anything inherently bad with going to a psychiatrist. It just tells me that this chick might have had other mental issues that contributed to her coldness, to her indifference, to her being, just not that attracted to you anymore based on her behaviors. But okay, let's continue. So she said she had a lot to think about and wanted time apart. I said I would respect that and that I would be thinking of her, which she said was sweet, and she would do the same. So she's basically at this point rejecting you. I guess I'm in no contact and giving her some time to process whatever is going on, but I'm very, very worried that this is probably the end. I feel like the hormones in the Plan B really screwed with her system, bullshit, and left her in depression and has mangled her body. No, it hasn't. This is such BS, man. I mean, okay, Plan B doesn't work that way. It doesn't just mangle someone's body, It's not like you're on crack or something. And also, I think you're just using this as an excuse because you don't want to admit the deeper fact that you just turned her off for some reason. Maybe you got overly clingy after that whole sex without a condom thing. Maybe you got a bit desperate, a bit needy. Maybe you got a bit sulky, and you just tried to use her as your therapist, as your mom even. I'm getting hints of all of that throughout this post, although I don't know the exact situation, but I think that she just lost attraction for you because you acted unattractively. It doesn't have anything to do with plan B. It probably has to do a lot more with your reaction to her taking plan B and you having that experience with the unprotected sex, with sex without a condom. I don't know, maybe you panicked at that point and things started to go downhill. Maybe you got overly emotionally involved with her when that happened because it was such a big deal to you, and you became needy because of that, like for that reason. So what I'm saying is, she probably is right now, she probably lost attraction for you because you acted unattractively. It has nothing to do with her hormones or her depression or how, the plan B supposedly mangled her body, which I also just don't believe is the case. I also worry the thought of pregnancy scared her. I mean, it could be the case that she's afraid of the whole pregnancy stuff, but that doesn't tell me the whole story. I feel horrible for her, but the switch from loving and caring to wanting space was so fast and furious that I don't know what to think. I mean, you're also taking a lot of the blame here that I maybe think you shouldn't. It's her fault as well. Like, she could just then and there tell you, don't put your dick on me, don't put your dick in me without a condom. She could also take some goddamn responsibility. She is 23. She probably knows what she's doing. She probably did sleep with other guys at that age. So it's on her as well. She should also feel bad about it. She should also try to resolve the issue and communicate openly with you. You don't have to take all of the blame. I'm not saying you're not to blame. You could also say, and you could have also done things differently. But it's not just about you. And I feel you're being overly harsh on yourself here. I don't think there is another guy in the picture. She's morally against dating multiple people and has been cheated on before. Okay, fair enough. So at least we don't have to worry about that. Although I would consider a red flag when I hear about someone saying stuff like it's morally wrong to date multiple people if we're talking about a casual date here, right? If this is like your girlfriend, obviously I would agree it is morally wrong because you are not respecting the commitment of that partnership, of that relationship. But if this is just casual dating, I don't see a problem with dating multiple people at once, going from one person to the next, maybe like the next day or something. I think that's an indicator also of very conservative religious women, at least in my book. And I would recommend people to not date women like that unless, of course, they are also religious and highly conservative and know for a fact that they want someone like that. Anyhow, she is a very strong character, very religious. Oh, okay, so I was right. Strong-willed, family-oriented, hardworking, and focused. We seem to align on almost every life principle we have and just make a lot of sense together. The attraction was the strongest I've ever had for anyone, and I can't say the same for her, but for sure, but I know hers was very high. From the way she spoke to me, how she touched me, looked at me, and treated me. Would love some advice on how to proceed, as I feel very guilty for all she's going through, and I'm just kind of shocked this is all happening. Thanks, everyone. Okay. So first of all, just a comment on attraction. Attraction, just because, and a lot of people, by the way, really misunderstand this. Attraction isn't this static thing. My girlfriend loved me so much yesterday, she probably still loves me today, right? That's usually not how it goes. It fluctuates. This person might have loved you and was really attracted to you a week ago or a month ago, but then, because of maybe your mindset shifts, your behaviors, they change their mind and they're not as attracted to you as before, which I would say is the case here. To repeat once again, nothing to do with the plan B, or at least That's not the major cause of this loss of attraction. I think it's just what you're doing, how you're behaving, and what kind of, I guess, principles you're embodying. So just know that attraction isn't static, it's fluid. And don't blind yourself into thinking that because she had high attraction before at some point, she's gonna feel the same way now. It doesn't work like that. Now, here's your main issue, I think. You feel very guilty about all of this, what you've put her through, even though this is equally her fault as it is yours. You're probably taking more of the blame than you should, and you're, as a result, behaving in very overcompensating, aka needy ways. You're trying to make things right. Yet, through making them right, you're probably coming across as very overly invested. Maybe even desperate, maybe even clingy or pushy or forceful or something like that, overly aggressive. That could all be the case. I'm making guesses at this point. But probably if you resolve the guilt that you're feeling, which is a completely different tangent that I'm not gonna go into in this video, but if you resolve the guilt that you're feeling for making her feel that way, if you start to take responsibility only for your emotions and you do not take responsibility for her emotions, which is healthy boundaries 101, what you should be doing, if you take care of that aspect of your psyche, of your personal development, I think the needy behaviors that you're actually exhibiting, they're going to automatically wither away in due time, of course. So that's something to look into. Boundaries, resolving guilt. That's it. Taking responsibility for your emotions and behaviors, not this other person's. So, in other words, how they feel and what they do, it doesn't concern you. You shouldn't be the one trying to mitigate the situation, fix it, turn it around, whatever. You should be focused on your own thing, okay? And let the other person be a grown-ass adult and, well, just take care of their own emotional issues. So that's it. That's my comments, my 2 cents on this topic. For anyone new out there, again, if you want to get into this private community, if you purchase my coaching or my courses, you get lifetime access to it. Pretty cool place. We have weekly Q&A calls. I get back to everyone in a few days because it's still a very small community. So yeah, just, I don't know, consider that link in the description below. And that's it. Take care.